Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. We are staying in the NBA, where the players decided this morning to resume playing in the playoffs. However, the 3 games that were scheduled today will be postponed. This follows the Bucks choosing to boycott their game yesterday to protest the police shooting of Jacob Blake, resulting in all 3 games being postponed. Joined now by Fox NBA analyst Chris Broussard. CB, I'm starting with you. Did the NBA players accomplish anything with the boycotts?
Yes, and how much remains to be seen, but I do think they accomplished something. They let NBA owners, corporate sponsors in the league, the television stations and networks know we will go there. And if there's another incident like what we saw with Jacob Blake within the next few weeks, maybe they will go there. Maybe that'll be the final straw. So we have seen that if they do go there, if they do make that sacrifice, then it will reverberate through other leagues. I was watching you guys earlier. I know you said NFL players wouldn't follow suit. I'm not sure. Now, obviously, you guys played in the NFL, but if the players decided we've had enough, we're stepping away, I think that will put pressure on the black players in the NFL to follow suit and do the same thing. So the threat, I think, is there. Secondly, and I say how much remains to be seen, they talked to the lieutenant governor, the Milwaukee Bucks did, and the attorney general in Wisconsin. They are pushing for what the governor of Wisconsin is pushing for, which is for the Wisconsin legislature, which hasn't met for months, to meet next week and look at the police reform bill that has been on the table for more than a month. It's got 9 different bills to it for police reform. If the pressure forces the legislature to meet and pass that bill, that is a big win for Wisconsin. And then what did they ask of the owners? Are they asking the owners to open up your arenas to be voting sites? That would be a win. Are they asking the owners to use your connections to talk to Donald Trump? A lot of them are friends with Donald Trump. Ask him to tone down the racially inflammatory rhetoric. That would be a win. Did they ask Donald Trump, the owners, to maybe look at what you can do to abolish police unions, which is a possibility. So I think there are things they could ask for that would be big wins. The question is, did they ask the owners for them, and will the owners go ahead and do it?
Did the players accomplish anything? It's 3 letters, TBD. Like Chris Broussard said, we just don't know. Let's go back. A quick history lesson, 1936. In the face of Hitler trying to show Nazi superiority, Jesse Owens, a black man, goes there and wins 4 medals. But it still took 10 years to integrate baseball in America, America's pastime dominant sport at the time. Remember, Jesse Owens comes back to America and isn't given an American welcome. He said he still had to go in through the back door, still had to sit on the back of buses. So while there was a demonstration, it didn't necessarily make immediate change. Okay, let's talk about 1968. Tommy Smith, John Carlos, they raised their 5th on the podium at the Olympics after getting 1st and 3rd in the 200 meters. Well, still, in 2020, ahead of Tokyo, Olympic athletes were forced to sign something called Rule 50, which stated that you were not allowed to have a demonstration of any kind, political, religious, or racial propaganda while winning or on the podium. So a lot of these things, like a rubber band, they're pulled out, but then they will snap back and return to their normal state. Unless these players continue on in what they started, unless they persist and make this strike, this boycott, not just be a postponement, because really that's all it was. We ain't play games for 2 days and then we're going to start playing these games again. Then not much would have been accomplished. Again, in life, I like to be significant instead of being successful. But for the sake of this boycott, we need these players to make this more successful than just significant. For the last 24 and now to be 48 hours, it would have been significant. The sports world, the basketball world, it was put on pause. It stopped. It got our attention. But now, after it got our attention, what are you going to do with that attention that you got?
Yeah, who didn't grow up here? Use what you got to get what you want. I used to hear that from my aunties all the time, right? I don't know what these guys accomplished. TBD is a good way of saying it. I'm hopeful because you kept saying, Chris, and I respected that, players got the owners on notice, got the world on notice. We will go there, but where I'm from, I'm like, go where? What's up? Like, I call you on that challenge because making statements is one thing, but that is a lot different than planning, structuring, and sustaining a movement. Completely different animals. Ask Kaepernick about that. It's one thing to go out there and splash, but now, after that splash, what are you going to do to sustain that momentum that actually changes and materializes the words, the verbiage to concrete actions? And because I've lived through era after era,
just talk. It happens with action and needs to happen now. For my I Promise school kids and communities across the country, it's on us to make a difference together. That's why your vote is more than a vote. Hashtag Black Lives Matter. Joined once again by LeBron's former teammate, Fox NBA analyst, and my dog, Tristan Thompson. Tristan, just last night, LeBron voted to end the season. Are you worried about his commitment moving forward?
No, not at all. Not at all. I think for Bronny James, I think it's extra motivation. I think, obviously with this going on right now is definitely, it's a lot of emotions going on, but, people always say on the court, you never wake up a sleeping giant. Well, he's awake now, and now he got extra motivation, and he's going in super gear right now. So I think for him, he's all the way 2 feet in, locked in, and I think for him, it's like he looks at it, the more basketball I'm playing, the more my team is winning, and the more I'm on this platform where my voice can be heard all across the country and the world. That's the most important thing. So for him, he's going to handle it with his play on the court, but also when he's off the court doing media and interviews, he's going to keep talking about what's going on in our society because it's disgusting and it's terrible right now. So I think that's like Mark Jackson said, Mama, that's a bad man. So he's ready to rumble, I'll tell you that.
So here's my fear, Tristan Marcellus, is that there's a lot on King James's plate. And y'all know what the saying is, the straw that broke the camel's back. See, what we're asking athletes now to be civil rights activists, to be superstar players, to still try to be, in LeBron's case, a father and a husband. I just don't know, Tristan, how much you can focus on the game of ball when quite literally one night you're like, you know what, I'm good. I don't want to play the rest of the season. Then you wake up the next day talking about, okay, we can hoop. But I just don't know how committed you can stay to the game, to the cause, when you realize there are greater causes out there. I mean, even LeBron back in 2016 when y'all were riding together, he said it's what, in reference to Muhammad Ali, it's what they did outside the ring that was really the most important thing. In reference to Oscar Robinson, Bill Russell, it's what they stood for off the court. So do you think that LeBron can truly compartmentalize both trying to be this civil rights activist and also trying to be a superstar for the Lakers?
Of course, most definitely. One thing about LeBron, his brain, his programming it's one of a kind in terms of he deals with so much other stuff when it's just a regular season that he's able to always focus and have his blinders on. Of course, like you said yesterday, he said, I'm not playing, but that all stems from just, being in the bubble. Everyone's got to make sacrifices. So the fact that, for him, we're talking about he, made a sacrifice to come to the bubble like other guys. But one thing for him, which was important for him to come to the bubble, he said, we want to still be able to have that flat platform to talk about stuff. But for him, it's his upbringing. I mean, a kid from Akron, inner city Akron, with his mom, raised by his mom, no father in the household. All those emotions come out after seeing what's going on in today's world. So for him, it was definitely all the emotions from not being able to see his family to his upbringing as a kid, because that's how most of us athletes felt. And I think if you ask a lot of the NBA guys that I've talked to, a lot of them was emotionally just angry and frustrated just because our upbringing, and then you guys too, man, upbringing. You guys already know how it is, man. Mom and dad, auntie come home, get fired for no reason or don't get a job because of their appearance. Shoot, my dad didn't get a job because he had dreads and he's Jamaican. And he had to literally cut his dreads just to get opportunities. So all those emotions, I think, came out of players yesterday. But I think, they had a time to sleep on and wake up today and say, you know what? We got this platform, and I'm not about to give it to no a Republican convention party about what's going on. So we're going to keep this platform here so we can talk about what's going on and everyone's going to listen.
Yeah, I have no doubts about King James. I think you guys touched on these points. We all know how resilient he is. his upbringing speaks volumes about that. His drive, his greatness, how he's even exceeded expectations when the expectations were absurd from the beginning. When you're called the chosen one, when you're called King James, when you're 18 years old and you're already a household name, to exceed those expectations and to never step in it, I have no worries about him. Now, I know Sonny's son over here, the bishop's son, my man Emmanuel Acho, knows about how the Bible says, be hot or cold, not lukewarm. I'll spit you out my mouth. Basically, don't waffle on things. However, this is not really waffling. This is his emotions trying to reconcile with everything he's been through in his life and everything that he sees, that one day he knows he has to hand that baton off to his other young family members and sons and daughters and everyone in his circle. And he's like, goodness, am I going to hand this baton off with a better circumstance, with a better situation? Or am I going to have to fear for their circumstances and their situation? Acho, you spoke about his focus.